everybody. This is John Marola of Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And as you can see, our table's still a little light. My two co-hosts, Paul Brigandy and Dave Lanning, are out of town. But this one just came about kind of fast, you know. Actually, we're here to introduce the new Section 5 chairman from Oakfield-Alabama, Tyler Winter.
Yes.
Winter. Yep. Thank you. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
You having me. You know, and before we get talking, I got to say, a couple things first. Our subscribes. First of all, everybody that has subscribed so far, I have to say thank you. You've been a big help. We really, really do appreciate it. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel. All you got to do is just hit the subscribe button, and everything automatically will be up. This episode will be out 6 p.m. The one before is the one we had yesterday with the Glory to Glory with Antoine Hyman and that episode. And I'm still trying to digest that one because as an old-time football coach here, you know, that's something new. And, just telling people, it's going to be a part of us. So just be ready for it and try to understand as much as you can about it. Anyways, back to this. So if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. After that, we have our sponsors. At the end of our show, we have the list of all our sponsors. And if anybody that would like to be a sponsor or knows anybody that would like to sponsor with us, we'd like to have you aboard, be a partner with us, and it's a lot of fun. So, with that, anyways, the other thing I got to say is what episode we're on. This is our second season. This is our 27th episode of season number 2. And overall, this is our 78th episode of Keeping It Real. And I say this all the time, we're just moving right along. So with that all done and out of the way, let's get on to our guests. First thing I got to say is congratulations on this. And I personally, I've been telling people, and we talked a little bit about this off cameras, people don't really know you. Mm-hmm. And this is a great opportunity for people to see our new Section 5 chairman and get to know you and know what you're about. And all I've been telling people up here is just listen to the man, because I'm really excited about this and with you and everything. I honestly mean that. And this is just a positive thing for Section 5 and all the coaches and schools and teams and everybody. So,
well, thanks, John. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. So let's talk about first, how did you get involved in coaching?
Oh man, my coaching journey, I got started very early. I went to Holly High School, right outside of Monroe County. I think it's the first school in Genesee County when you cross that county line. So when I went to college, I ended up back at Holly helping as an assistant coach. My brother still played. I was still very close with a lot of the kids that played. And I never looked back. And then one thing led to another, and ended up venturing down to Livingston County and had coaching stops along the way at Warsaw and at York. And really just one thing led to another. Next thing you know, I blinked, and I was the head football coach at York High School at the age of 22.
Wow.
I was young, and I thank the AD at the time, Ed Orman, for giving me that opportunity. I was actually finishing my student teaching for phys ed the same fall that I was taking over a football program. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a loaded fall for sure. A lot of learning done that time. We weren't particularly good. Got some very wise advice that was sectional championship football teams don't typically get handed to 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
It was a project. They were great kids. They worked hard. Did a couple years there, and while I was thankful for that opportunity and all of that learning that occurred. Then an opportunity to go take a teaching job at Elba opened up, which is where I am now. Then quickly got involved in that football program, which is a merge program like you alluded to with Oakfield-Alabama, your OAE. And then within a couple of years was able to take that program over at the age of 27, and we made the transition back actually, because when I took over, OAE was an 8-man football program.
Yes.
A pretty successful one. They had 2 years, the 2 first years of 8-man football in Section 5 were the 2 years that OAE was the sectional champion for it.
Excellent.
And I served on that staff. When I took over, and when our coaching staff took over, we felt that we had regenerated excitement. So we had enough kids that were interested in football, and we made the move back to 11-man literally right as COVID hit, which took the wind out of our sails. But, stayed the course and played that spring season as our first season taking over that program, and we've had some good fortune since. We won a couple sectional championships, won a regional championship. We've had some strong teams with some great players, and we've been super fortunate. And I think a lot of those experience helped me to now be in the role that I am at Elba, which is the athletic director role that I've just finished up my second year in. And I don't know, John. It's a lot quick. Yeah, it is. We joked when we were talking before the podcast. Section 5 football coordinator. I don't think that job was on my 2025 bingo card.
No, that's what you were saying.
But, being involved with the committee for a couple years and knowing that Section 5 was looking for some help and Scott was going to step away, more than anything, it's given me so much so quick talking about Section 5 football. I've been very fortunate in my experiences. It's an opportunity to give back. They were looking for someone to fill the position. I thought, why not? An opportunity to give back to not only the section, but all of our student athletes across all counties, all classifications. So it's exciting for sure.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
There's so much going on with you. You're the athletic director. You're the phys ed teacher. You're the head coach. Now you're in charge of Section 5. It just keeps on coming.
Yeah, when you put it like that, we're on a crash course to a busy fall for sure.
Yeah, but you know what? You're young, and the other thing we were talking about, next year you'll be getting married.
Yeah.
So there's another, you got a lot going on, my man.
Yeah, we got to sneak some wedding planning in there too. So. Which is good. I mean, my fiance Stephanie's incredible. She's shouldered a lot of the load with that so far, and I'm thankful for her. And she's a coach and she's a phys ed teacher, so she's very understanding. She lives that life right alongside with me. So it's been
awesome,
great.
though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think it's going to be a great, just an experience just for you two, just to go through all that and this and everything. I mean, it's really, really exciting, and it's fun to watch from our vantage point. What when you heard about the job opening, did somebody call you and say, "Hey, why don't you do this?" Or was this something you've been thinking about?
Not quite. I know 2 years ago, like we had talked, Scott Barker, who as our Section 5 football coordinator, I think has done an incredible job. It was he who allowed me to hop on the committee as a Class D chair. I've learned a lot from him the past couple of years. He's been a tremendous advocate. He's been a good personal resource and mentor, and super thankful for that. I know 2 years ago when he retired from his athletic director position at Pittsford, I knew he tried to couple it with stepping away from the chairman role. And I know one thing led to another, and here we are. Now it's 2 years later, and he's given us 2 more really good years of leadership. Within those 2 years now of also me being an AD and seeing how that side of the world works, and growing closer professionally with Kathy Hoyt and with Section 5, I know it's a thankless position. It's a servant leadership position, a lot like AD.
Yep.
And I just knew that, with them posting this vacancy, I wanted to reach out to Kathy and reach out to Section 5 and say, hey, listen, if we get into the same situation that we got into 2 years ago, I don't want to leave Section 5 football hanging. You know, I can at least offer this.
Yes.
You know, I don't know what that journey is going to entail, but this is me putting in for it. If someone else who,
That's
you know,
awesome.
we have great coaches and great ADs on our committee. If someone a little bit more senior latent was to step in and say, I'm interested, then awesome. You know, go with them. But at the off chance that, you know, you want to rock with me, then this is me putting in.
Here it is.
Here we are. Had interviewed for it, sat down with a committee that Kathy created, and turned into some really good dialogue and talking about the future of Section 5 football. And yeah, you know, here we are. So
you know what's funny is you were talking about, you know, telling people now you're the AD and football coach, and now you're the, you know, Section 5 chairman. I don't think Section 5 has ever had a person, AD, head football coach, as the chairman.
yeah.
Dick Cerrone, yes, he did coach, but then he stepped away. I mean, you're doing it together now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I think back when Dick was doing it, it was he was a football coach, and then he became the AD, and then he wasn't doing both at the same time.
Gotcha.
The point I'm trying to make is, you're going to see it from both ways. You're going to see it as an acting AD and as an acting head coach. And you know what I'm saying? So I think that benefits a lot of people. You know what I mean? You're just not looking at the view from an AD or a view from the football coach. You've got both sides.
Yeah.
And I think that right there, you know, because what I've heard, you know, in Section 5 as far as, you know, when people, you know, talking, whatever, you know, it's like, well, the ADs are going to do this, but then the coaches are going to do that. Then the ADs and then the coaches. You know, it kind of goes back and forth between the AD and coaches. But in your case, you're the same person.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a plus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you just rattled off 3 roles that are just, they're super collaborative in nature in order to do them well. As an AD, you're not only representing your school and your athletic department, but your league.
Yes.
So you're constantly collaborating. And then I think obviously any good football coach would tell you that it's gonna take a staff to be successful. And then I guess now as the chairman position, I would tell you too, it's going to take a strong committee and a strong collaborative effort to make sure that Section 5 is becoming the best product that it can become. So you just said it. You're on the front line for all 3 jobs. You're living in that moment that you can constantly create and reinforce that dialogue to make sure that the message isn't getting misconstrued or you know, that there's a disconnect anywhere. You're in all of these places already. So yeah, I mean, got to be a plus there, right?
It's got to be, because there's going to be no really, you know, well, they said this, he said that. You're there. You're involved with both sides. So it's like, you know, you're going to hear it firsthand. So any of those little stories or whatever that were, you know, the ADs are doing this, but the coaches are doing that, you know, that kind of goes away with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just a plus. Let's talk about a little bit about, okay, here you are, your first week and a half of Section 5 chairman. What is your outlook on Section 5, and what are your goals as far as Section 5?
Well, I would tell you that the outlook is, we're in an interesting time frame right now because and I don't want to speak too much because there's conversations that still need to be had with Section 5 leadership and meetings that need to occur. You know, you're in a weird spot where you're waiting for the T's to be crossed and the I's to be dotted, but at the same time, you're going to blink and August 18th is going to be here.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. So it's there's a balancing act right now of, you know, what could be some short-term goals and what are the low-hanging fruit for Section 5 football? But, you know, thankfully at the same time, continuing with Federation scheduling for the fall of 2025, I mean, the foundation has been laid. The schedule is out. Draft classifications are constructed.
It's there.
Yeah, it is there. The making for a strong fall of 25 is already in place. You know, and a lot of our committee is still already in place, and it's been a committee that I've been on now for 3 years, and we have strong leadership across our 5 classifications. You know, so I would say that right now the immediate effort is going to be just, you know, tying up a lot of the loose ends that require the chairman to step in and tie them up, making sure that, our postseason, our sites, our luncheon, everything that goes into everything beyond Halloween, essentially, for a fall season is taken care of and addressed. So there is a lot of that, and honestly, being only a week and a half, I would be lying to you if I said that I'm going to come in with these giant long-term goals. We're still kind of dipping our toe in the water. We want to see, in fact, how that fall of chairman, AD, coaching goes. And then with this new role, thankfully, there's going to come new experiences, and you're going to talk to people in a different way than maybe you've talked to them before. It was just the, hey, how are you, and passing when you serve on the same committee. And now it's a little bit more of a deeper dialogue.
What do you think about this, or what? Like
and just you're just loosely and almost indirectly now you're collecting it as almost feedback. Whereas maybe you just collected it as an opinion that really, as a small school AD and coach, didn't have a lot of impact on you, but now you're thinking from, I had to take my OAE hat off. I'm putting my Section 5 football hat on. And if you're a member school and your student athletes and your coaches are playing football in our section, then there's got to be something I can do to help you and give you guys the best experience possible.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That really tells you about a little bit, letting people know, who you are and what you're about and everything. It's just so positive, and like we said, bottom line, it's the kids.
Yes,
it's the kids. That's why we're here. Where are you looking for? Like we were talking earlier, there's things that are going on right now. You're not going to come in and reinvent the wheel,
right?
with things, the wheel's already the wheel, so it's not going to get any better. But as far as tweaking, that'll be over a course of time. I know that you were talking about maybe next year going back to league play, and that, and maybe taking a look at that. I'm sure there's things that you want to take a look at and just say, well, you know what, that's okay, we're going to keep that, or you know what I'm saying. I'm sure that in your future, as you get comfortable with your job and everything, that more and more positive things will come out of it.
Sure. I would say that it's almost like natural instinct as just a competitor in general, that you're going to look at things when you begin to fully immerse yourself in something, just like you do when you coach. You're going to look at things and constantly look from the lens, what can we do to, even if it's slightly, if it's 1%, how can we 1% improve this product? You touched upon league scheduling. So Kathy Hoyt in Section 5 did push for a vote at the executive committee level for league scheduling to return for fall of 26. So this will be our final season in federation format, and then that's going to be one of those things, collaborating with Section 5, we should really start to iron out the nuts and bolts of what that's going to look like next year, now that it's been, 6-7 years since we had league scheduling in our section. Those are things that it would probably not hurt to start to look at now, or as soon as the end of this upcoming season. And then it's all the things that come with being the chairman of Section 5 football, championship weekend, your role at the NISFA level, your Hall of Fame committee, your
Eddie
Meath game. It's now instead of just being a bystander or a spectator, it's you're running the show, or you're collaborating with the others that are going to collectively run the show.
Yes.
I think that's when the best refinement work will get done. I think that when you are actually a part of it, and like you said, when your name is on the side of the truck, now it's really like contextualized. Like, what can we do to make sure that this is going to be at least that 1% better in 2026?
Yes.
So that's where there has to be that excitement to just, dive in, get at the forefront of all of it, see what it's all about. Look at the behind the scenes, the logistics, the championship operations packet, go for the entire weekend because you are on the NISFA football committee now to state championship weekend, and be at the Carrier Dome for, the hope is obviously from a competitor standpoint, we've got multiple Section 5 teams playing that weekend. even if we don't, you're there. You're trying to, look around and take all of it in and see what can we do from an experience
You're
standpoint.
always scanning. You're always,
yes.
What's that one? Give me that 1%.
Yes. Yep. Give me the 1%. Squeeze every drop that we
awesome.
can.
That's awesome. And I think your enthusiasm, the way you feel about your coaching, when I came to watch practice last year with your coaching with the kids and, then finding out, the AD end and just, it's a lot, but man, you're grasping it. You're putting your arms around it and say, okay, let's go.
Yeah, sink or swim. Doing what we can.
That's awesome, though. Really, really excited. Dick Cerrone, when he was, our chairman, he started a lot of great things, in Section 5, and I know that you're going to, then Scott came along, and then Scott took those things over, too, and I know that you are, too, and, it's just going to make it bigger and better, and just maybe not bigger, but better, you know what I'm saying? And the other thing, too, that we were talking about was, when things go on, when we were talking about, federation play, league play, everybody's not going to be happy, no matter which way you go. And I remember talking to Dick, this is 01, so this was a couple minutes ago.
A little bit ago.
Just because I was working up at Aquinas and I was coaching up there, talking to him about, he wanted to do some things, and he's like, I don't know if people are going to be too, they're going to be too into it or whatever. And I was just like, Dick, if you think that's what you should do, go do it. Go do it.
Yeah.
You don't know unless you try. And I'm not saying, but, opportunities are out there. Things are out there. If it's going to make, Section 5 better, it's not going to get that much pushback. It's
sure.
Just, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. A couple of my AD colleagues, when I first jumped into the job, especially only being 30 years old, they said to me, just know, if everyone's happy, then you're probably not doing the job correctly, because you're not going to make everyone happy.
Exactly.
And you're absolutely right. And that's a strong conversation with Dick back in the day. If you have your why, right? The why you do what you do. Why are you passionate about the things that you're passionate about? If that's ironed out and that is the needle of your compass pointing north, and in this case it's for kids, for our student athletes in section, bottom line, then there's going to be decisions down the road. And you're right. League versus federation scheduling has been probably, at our committee's level, one of the most contentious. You're probably drawing a line in the sand, splitting it 50-50.
Yep.
And it's, a lot of times I guess I want to choose my wording carefully here, but, when those decisions need to be made, at the end of the day, if you can, rest on the idea that the decision you're going to make is going to have a positive impact on the most of our student athletes in Section 5 football, then I'd say you're doing good work.
Bottom line.
Your compass is pointing north.
Yes. So, and that's what it's all about. It's just trying to do things better. And you know what? You're human. I'm a human. Everybody else. We're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people that are going to be the down players about. But then there's also going to be, that's a good idea. Let's, But you know what I'm saying. At least if you're not trying, I guess then that's the biggest problem of all.
And we're not moving. We're not growing.
No, that 1% is not.
We're not going to get there.
No, not at all. So, let's talk a little bit about football.
Let's talk football.
How's your season going to look this year? How's your team?
My team is, for probably the first time in the 6 years that I have been in the role at OAE. We've got an interesting mix. We do have senior leadership. We do have a nice core of kids that are doing really well with off-season attendance. They're absolutely what you would consider a Class A veteran in the program. But the makeup of our team right now is also dependent on contribution from young kids. And when I say young, I mean we have a couple kids in the soon-to-be freshman class.
Wow.
That, one might argue in a Class D school, because that's common for our class, right? Yeah. There's a lot of programs in Class D that are 2-level programs. They're going with Modified A, and then for 7 through 9, and then varsity for 10 through 12. We've been fortunate where we've continued to field 3, and we still field Modified JV and varsity.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, I think that any Class D school would tell you we would love the numbers to be a little bit more than what they are, but sizes of schools can make that tough when you're offering all these sports. That also does have a lot to do with where those couple of freshmen are at in their development. We have a few kids right now for 14 years old. They are completely bought into the process and the program. They're doing a nice job with their off-season training, their lifting, their open field sessions, their team activity. They're just fully immersing themselves in the program. So when you have that, it's tough to deny that kid, they are the ones right now setting themselves up for good opportunities in a month or two down the road. So the makeup of our team is going to be, the spectrum is very wide. We're going to have veteran seniors, but they're also going to need to be leading some very raw, young, athletic potential and get them up to speed to get to where we want to go.
That sounds like a lot of fun, though.
Ton of fun. And that is absolutely, I'll say it now, and I'm sure I'll be saying that same message in a month or two. If you could say one thing already about the 2025 OAE team, these guys are a blast. Fun when they're with one another at an open field or a weight room session. I swear, they get together and it takes absolutely nothing. And you're talking about 2 different school districts.
Yes,
too. It's not like these guys are just, every day, Monday through Friday classmates. For a lot of them, practice is the only time they see each other.
Yeah.
But there's just such a uncanny chemistry right now that they seem to have almost without even really trying. You take off them you keep your thumb off them for just 1 minute. Next thing you know, there's a group of 6 or 7 of them just in a circle like it's coffee talk. But it's because they enjoy each other's
That's great. That's awesome.
From a personality standpoint, which, we continue to tell them, you can't put a price. Do not ever underestimate the power of being a great teammate in this sport. And we do think that we are going to have a group of kids, number one, from a leadership standpoint, strong, but followership, which is not something that is talked about enough. You can have leadership and you can have kids that, they say the right things and do the right things and maybe they're even vocal and they have a strong demeanor about them. And, but at the end of the day, leadership is the ability to create followership amongst your peers. It's to get a group of kids that you share class with, that you see up and down, Main Street and lunch period, and you see them out in town, to want to follow your message into the battle that is football. It's a tough skill. I do think, though, early signs are pointing to our team having a little bit of that.
That's great.
Which is exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
How far are the schools away from each other?
Oh, God, probably 5 miles.
Oh, yeah.
It's
okay.
5, 6, 7 minute drive up and down one road. From a distance standpoint, it is very convenient.
Okay, that's good. The other thing I happened to, I was looking through your stuff or whatever over there. You guys got turf coming in.
We have turf coming in. Yep.
As we're speaking.
As we are speaking, the turf field piece of the project is all done. So now the track's going in as we speak. I think that has a 2 to 4 week period where it needs to sit and the rubber needs to be, the asphalt's in now. Mm-hmm. Everything I've heard and everything that we're seeing is you're going to be good to go for this turf field for this season.
Lights,
yep. The whole new stadium vibe. They took the old stadium of Oakfield, moved it back a few feet, angled it so it's nice and flush to the back of the building. It looks great. And
That's
we're
awesome.
going to our, we're using Oakfield right now for our off-season lifts, but we're using our Elba field because of all the construction.
Okay,
for our team activity. But so when we're at Oakfield for our lifts, the kids catch a peek at the field and they're
gotta be
very
getting
excited.
Juiced up.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's
That
going to be
is-
great for these guys.
Yeah, I happened to be looking through the website, I think, and I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. That capital project team that Oakfield has working on the construction has been phenomenal. I cannot believe the amount of work that they've gotten done in such a short period of time.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One other one I want to point or step. and I killed myself because I'm so bad with names. The running back last year, Jack.
Yep, Jackson Freeney. Yep.
Where is he going?
Jack is going to the University of Auburn.
Really?
He is going to, not for athletics.
I know.
But he is going, I think last I talked to him, he was either going to do a dual major in something physics related with business, or maybe he's just moving with one or the other. Jack was a phenomenal student.
And one heck of a football player.
And he was a heck of a football player, and he put together a tremendous senior season. And a 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
I looked through his stats from his junior year to his senior year, and it was like, wow, is this the same? Just off the chart.
Yeah, he did a great job. So I'm excited for him. I think he's got a couple weeks, and he's got to head down. Obviously, they'll start a little bit earlier than a college up here would for their fall semester, but. What an experience that's going to be. Oh, my God.
There's like 40,000 kids that go to Auburn.
That's a culture change compared to being from little Oakfield, New York up here.
When I came out to your practice last year, I go back, and it's the picture that, group of kids with the coaches in the backfield and just getting your work done. And, just remind my dad is from Calmum.
Yeah.
So, going out, I remember when I was younger, going out with him to Calmum and watching practice, or Leroy watching practice over there. It's just a great, that bond. That bond is really something special.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
It's just something that's awesome. Well, anything else? What else has you got going on?
Is that between this episode here, between the couple minutes beforehand, we have ironed out a lot of.
Yeah, and you earlier today you talked to Scott. You went in and talked to him.
Yes, yep.
That went well.
Yeah, it went well. Yep. As soon as Scott heard that the transition was finalized, he reached out, and he's been a tremendous leader for Section 5 football, and even personally being on the committee. So I was really happy that he did. I'm super thankful. We sat down, probably hashed out an hour and a half worth of information, and just great dialogue, great conversation, and it was extremely beneficial.
That's great.
I'm
really
very
good.
thankful that he did that.
And then we were just talking yesterday about, you said you were coming in to see Scott, and I was like, well, since you're this way, because I was going to plan on going out to see you.
You were coming to us. Yeah, and you did that in the fall.
You know why? Because when we were at premiere, that episode didn't come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't find out the glitch, and they're still having problems in the mall with the Wi-Fi in the mall.
Oh, yep, that's right.
So I was getting a couple episodes that weren't coming out. So, and I wasn't going to have you guys come out, and gave me an opportunity to. I have no problem getting in the car and going someplace
to watch a little football.
Yes,
right?
No problem doing that.
No, it worked out, and we went to premiere, and then you came to Elba for a practice, and now it was back to my turn.
And actually, we went inside the gym
for the episode.
Yes,
yeah,
and set up, and it got me an opportunity to look a little around the high school and everything. And, it's just like I said, I'm just an old football coach that, just can't let it go.
Can't let it go, no.
And you know what?
Why should you?
I know. That's the thing, too. Well, buddy, I just want to say thank you again. Appreciate you being here. And that's my phone going off.
Oh, I thought you had music that faded out. I'm like, wow, John.
No.
That was impressive.
Yeah. Well, so, anyways, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
And we're definitely excited about this. And like I said, first thing when we were talking in the back a little bit was bottom line, the kids.
Kids.
So you can't go wrong from there. Actually, I'll tell you a funny one before we leave. I was just looking. I get a little of these things coming. Like Kyle Fenn gave me the Rydell hats and the football cleats.
Yes.
I was working at Leadership, which is the old Charlotte High School. And one of the kids came up to me one day and gave me these cleats. I'm like, what are you giving me these cleats for? And what's going on? Oh, Coach, I retired from football. Alex, his name was Alex. And I was like, retired? I'm thinking, you're 16 years old. Okay, you retired. So anyways, there's only one spot I got to put this is on the table.
There you go.
And this right here is what Dave Lanning brought was a little miniature, the jug.
The jug.
From Fairport ER. So, and he always tells me he's going to take it back home, but this is never leaving.
No, that's got to stay right there.
Never leaving.
That's a great centerpiece for the table.
And so, actually, we were talking about you. I might make a trip down your way in a week or so. Maybe we'll set something up. I'll grab a helmet.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to collect the helmets a little bit. So.
Yeah, we will have an OAE helmet to add to the Keeping It Real collection.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
So, okay, we're good. We're all set. At the end now, what we'll do is I'll go 1, 2, 3, and we'll point, and we'll say, Keeping It Real, Section 5 football.
We'll say that?
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Keeping It Real, Section 5 football.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
One in a million, super rich. Got so much dough, I don't know what to do with it. Suddenly, a part of me just wants to go back to how it used to be.